and welcome to Inner Circle Guidance. Today we're going to be doing a collective reading, but for those of you who are new to the circle, hello and welcome. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button. I post new videos every single day. And if you're looking for daily short tarot readings, check out my Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, or YouTube Shorts. If you're looking for personal services or personal readings, I offer them through my website, innercircleguidance.com. Let's find out what the circle needs to know today. We have the Empress. We have the Ace of Cups. We have Justice. We have the Nine of Wands. 10 of Wands. We have the Lovers on the bottom of the deck. All right, so there's a couple of things I'm seeing right now. I keep seeing heavy fog and I keep seeing the change of seasons. When winter comes, the flowers die, and then spring comes and new flowers bloom. And this is very much how the seasons of your life are. And I'm seeing that a lot of you are still in this sort of transitory period, or you're in the process of a certain area of your life being in transit where you're sort of in between seasons. And if you think about being in between seasons, that gets really confusing. You aren't quite sure where you should be putting your focus, where you should be drawing a boundary. You might be getting overwhelmed because you're not really sure what choices and decisions you should be making. And there's days when you go outside and it ends up being colder than you expected and you forgot your jacket. There's days when you go outside and you wore a sweater and it's kind of too hot. And that transitory stage of the weather and the seasons changing gets very confusing and kind of tiresome because you're not quite sure exactly where to put your energy. You're not exactly sure what to expect. And it can be overwhelming and frustrating and tiresome and disappointing at times. But what I'm seeing here is we are in the process where those flowers are beginning to bloom. There's new opportunities that need to be nurtured. And I talk about the Empress a lot, having a secret garden where whatever she touches and nurtures is what grows. And that's very much what this transitory period is about. When you are in transition between one phase and another, the most important thing is alignment. Because what you choose to nurture, what flowers you choose to help bloom, are the ones that end up growing and end up flourishing and end up being a success in that chapter. And so you're kind of having to realize that during this transitory period, as you are aligning and nurturing the things that you want to build, it's not going to be perfect. There's going to be days when, say, pollen count is high and you're going to be sneezing everywhere. There's going to be days when you wore that sweater or you didn't bring your jacket. But pay attention to the way you feel with your alignment. If something feels off or feels like it's not working, it's usually because either the timing is off or you're being rerouted and redirected to a different path and a different choice that's going to be better for you that you didn't see on the way there. And so I think the reason I keep seeing this fog is because we kind of have this heavy, foggy mindset right now in this transitory period where we're not quite sure exactly which direction to take or what decision to make or what's the best choice. And this kind of goes along a little bit with yesterday's reading. Was it yesterday's reading? If it wasn't yesterday's reading, it was a couple readings ago that talked about how when you forecast the weather, it's not always completely accurate in your predictions. And you can't always just chase after the most perfect, correct answer. Because when you do that, you don't take any risks and you don't learn how to navigate all the different types of obstacles or challenges or just different things that life throws at you. And when you do take those risks and you are willing to fail, so to speak, or get it wrong, you end up oftentimes learning more and you're able to take higher, more calculated risks in your movement forward because you know how to handle all these situations and navigate them. And that's kind of how it is in the transitory phase of things. Some of you are getting so caught up on making one particular right decision, or you want to make the most beneficial decision that's going to give you the most return. But what that does is it creates a lot of walls where you're just kind of not really sure which direction to take, or it ends up having you carrying a lot of burdens and a lot of stress and worry that honestly isn't really serving you and is putting you through all the different potential outcomes before they ever actually manifest or don't manifest. Your choices here are important in the way that you go about making decisions and making choices. Now, I'm not telling you not to take calculated risks and just go out and whatever decision you make willy-nilly is going to be the right one. What I'm saying is that sometimes there isn't a perfect right answer. Sometimes the perfect right answer is doing the best that you can. And ironically, what's coming to mind now, what I'm seeing is a card that's in the Signs of the Time Oracle deck, which is the Labyrinth card. The difference between a maze and a labyrinth is that a labyrinth has no wrong turns and no dead ends. No matter what route you take, you will always get to the center of the labyrinth. And that's how transitory phases are. You may make a decision that makes you take a little bit longer to get from point A to point B, but you may learn something that's more important for your long-term growth and sustainable success. The transitory phases, this fog advisory that I'm giving you right now, is that you need to be cautious of the decisions you're making in terms of, do they align with the energy that you want to manifest? Pay attention more to that than whether or not it's the perfect right answer, because there is no completely wrong answer in this instance. In terms of, if you take a risk and it gives you a little bit of a delay, you may actually fail forward. You may end up learning something significant that's going to help you long term, and you can put down some of these burdens of trying to be perfect or trying to get the completely right answer or trying to always be in the right. What you nurture is what grows. That means if you fail, quote unquote, and you nurture that failure, it will slingshot you into success. People think that failure is the opposite of success, when failure is actually pulling the arrow back so that you can shoot it forward. It's a part of the process. It's not the opposite of. So you're being asked to nurture your relationship with choices, nurture your relationship with failure, and nurture your relationship with how you define your progress. And I've talked about it a lot, how this era that a lot of us are stepping into is about learning how to master transactional energy and time transactions. Because time and energy are the two universal languages. They're the universal currency. This gets into that. Are you spending too much time trying to find the complete right answer? The truth is that sometimes even if you pick the most right answer, something is still not going to go according to plan. And something's still going to go wrong that could potentially detour you. Instead of getting caught up in the fog and getting caught up in the process where you're just spinning your wheels and going around in circles and getting lost, try to ground yourself and use your instinct of, does this feel like it's in alignment or not? And then use that as your navigation to get you out of the fog. And sometimes that requires you creating the separation we've talked about in the last couple of readings as well, of learning how to separate your thoughts and your feelings from your reality and what's in alignment with who you really are, your authenticity, and your actual alignment to what you want. And being able to differentiate between your fear and something else. Because oftentimes when we get worried about making decisions and we put up these walls and we carry all these burdens, it's because of fear. It's because we're worried about some aspect. We're worried about getting it wrong. We're worried about getting in trouble. We're worried about somebody not liking what we did or reacting a certain way. You need to start making your choices that are most in alignment with you and nurturing that as a huge talent, gift, and muscle. You need to start making choices that completely align with your authenticity and what you want to align with energetically. And that's where all these different pieces come into play. And I feel like all those different readings are leading up to this point of understanding how to navigate through the fog. And then once you get to the other side, it's not actually because anything has gotten easier in terms of you suddenly know all the right answers and all these things. It's because you went through that transitory process and you learned and you nurtured that process so that now these changes or these things that you're stepping into, you have more knowledge, more understanding, and you've learned the lessons. That's why transitory periods suck. why they take so long and usually take longer than we expect, and why we tend to feel like, oh, well, once we hit the destination of getting on the other side, it's just so much easier. It's never that you reach that destination suddenly. It's that the transitory phase set you up for that success. Start setting yourself up for success through the choices that you are making. Align them. Does this align with my authenticity? Does this align with my true reality? Does this align with the energy and frequencies that I want to manifest or that I am manifesting in my life? Your affirmation is, I am setting up myself for success through the choices that I make every day. So if this reading resonated with you, don't forget to like this video. And as always, may your life be full of light, full of love, abundance, and gratitude. I'll see you next time.